Hi and welcome again to Tech It Out. About 4 years ago I uploaded my first tech video. Before that I'd uploaded a few Land Rover videos. I used to restore very old series Land Rovers. My first tech video though was a build parts list for a PC, my ultimate PC at the time. And it took 2 years, but I managed to get that parts list together and build the PC that I wanted. Of course the parts were a lot cheaper by the time I came to build it. And that, of course, was my Blue Angel, the PC that I'm using at the moment. The video for that's one of the first videos on this channel. I thought then, after 4 years, it's about time I did an update to that video. And that video is not online anymore. I'm not sure what I did, but I somehow managed to delete it and lose it. I can't even find a backup of it anywhere. So sadly, that's gone. But this one is the new one. And I thought I'd show you my extreme dream rig for 2016. I've come to this site. This is Overclockers UK, and it's an extremely good site. It's got a very good parts system. You can look things up. You've got a wish list. It's a bit like the Amazon site in a way, but a bit better laid out, I think. And prices are very good as well, I've got to say. Delivery and everything is very fast. It's a UK-based company for those in the UK. I think they do overseas delivery as well, but you'll have to check on that, and of course prices and taxes may apply. These are also available on Amazon, and I'll put links down below both to Overclockers and to Amazon for the parts I'm going to show you. Let's kick off then. Well, the first part is the case. Now I had a look around and I love my Enthro Pro. I really do, and I think it's probably still one of the best cases, and for the money, the best case on the market at the moment. It's so well laid out. It looks so good, and it's just perfect in every way for what I want from a case, really. But there are many new cases out there. But this PC I'm dreaming of is going to be more of a workstation for video and photo editing, as well as a hardcore gaming PC. I thought of a new design. I'm going for the complete opposite, really, of Blue Angel. I'm going for a very dark design. And we're going to start with this. This is the Thermaltake Core W100 Super Tower case. Now this actually comes in two parts. There is an extra part you can build onto the bottom, and I think that's called the P100 if I remember rightly. But that makes it absolutely immense, and it's big enough as it is. It's a big case as it is, so I'm just using the top part. We'll just be using this part, the W100. It's really well laid out. Lots of ventilation, and as you can see, loads of space inside for working with and for water cooling as well. It has two sections. It has a section for the motherboard and then a section for the rest of the parts, the hard drives and the power supply and so on. And of course it's got the nice window there so you can see everything inside as well. This comes in at $269. It's a bit expensive, but the build quality on it is phenomenal. It's a really good case, and it's going to last you probably a lifetime unless PCs change a heck of a lot in the coming years. So that's the Thermaltake Core W100 Super Tower case. Now we come on to the motherboard. And for the motherboard, I was thinking of using a workstation board, but I thought, well, you may as well use a gaming board. There's not really a huge amount of difference. There is. I know there'll be people in the comments now saying, yes, there is, and screaming. But for my workload and for my wants, I think a balance between gaming and workstation. A workstation board would be more towards workstation work, whereas I wanted a game on this as well. So I chose the Rampage V Edition 10, the Intel X99. And of course, as with all the newer boards, it is DDR4. And it's an ATX board. It's a full-size board. It has the 4 PCIe 3x16 slots, 1x4, 1x1. Not that I think anybody uses really ×1 anymore. I'm not sure why they still include it. I don't know why they didn't put another ×4 in there. It has 12 SATA 6 gigabits, SATA Express, which is again something that's not really used much these days. M.2, U.2, so you don't need an adapter for the U.2. The 4 USB 3.1 and 8 USB 3. It's got dual Intel LAN, which will come in handy for the backing up to the NAS that I'm including in this build. It has Wi-Fi built in, 7.1 audio, and supports of course Crossfire and SLI as most do, and it's RGB as well. This build is going to be a black and red build. For the processor, well, I thought, well, if we're going to do an extreme build, go for the most extreme processor, which of course is the i7-6950X. 3 GHz, but these overclock, I've seen so many reviews now saying that they overclock very easily to 4 GHz. Got no worries there. And apparently you can overclock all cores, which is good. You don't have to rely just on one core. It has 10 cores. Now for gaming, of course, it won't be using 10 cores. At most these days, games tend to use 4 cores. I will be using this for streaming and of course for recording, the rendering afterwards of both photographs and video. So I will be using it to its full potential. It has 10 cores, which means 20 threads. For video rendering, photograph rendering, that type of thing, it's going to be phenomenal again. I've seen other reports saying that it isn't sometimes as good as a normal 4-core, but these are new processors and the software and the firmware has got to develop, and once it has, I'm sure it'll just knock spots off anything out there. I'm not talking about Xeon processors with 70 threads, but for retail, I think this is about the best you're going to get. It is extremely expensive though. If I was doing a lesser build, I'd have probably gone for the next one down, which would be in the 6850, which has 8 cores and 16 threads. It would have been sufficient, but this is an extreme build. Memory then. Now I haven't gone to the highest speed memory because again, looking at the various reviews, it seems there are issues with most X99 boards and the higher memory bandwidth. So I've gone with this. This is the Vengeance LED 64GB. These are 4 strips and I'm having 2 lots of these to max out the motherboard to its full 128GB potential. Some people may say, why are you doing that? It doesn't give you any benefit. It's because I'm going to have a 64GB RAM drive, wherein I'll have the software which does the rendering of both video and photographic work on the RAM drive to speed it up, as well as the cache will be on there as well. There'll be 128GB, 64GB will be dedicated to a RAM drive. Vengeance LED then 64GB times 2, DDR4 2400 C15 running at 3000 MHz. As I said, the 3400 and the 3600, there seems to be problems out there still. Again, they'll probably be addressed with updates to the BIOS, but for now, I thought I'd play safe and just go a little step lower. And of course, the speeds can be dropped down as well if there are any problems. This is probably going to be obvious to you, but for the graphics cards, and there are 2, there's going to be 2 GTX 1080 DirectCU 3 Strix overclocked. These are the Gaming Aura RGB, running at 1784 MHz core and boosting up to 1936, one of the fastest out there. Again, the reviews on this have been phenomenal and overclocking potential is excellent. VR ready, of course. Well, it's an Asus, and I love Asus. I have run in Asus at the moment, both motherboard and my 290X, which is getting on a bit now. Remember, this is a 4-year-old build. 2 years ago, the 290X was top of the line then. This is an incredible card, just one of these. 2 of them together. Well, the reviews have just been mind-blowing. I urge you to go out there and just have a look around and see what they say about these cards. Moving on then. To power it all, we need something really beefy. We've gone for the AX1500i digital ATX Titanium modular power supply. Again, you don't get much better than this, and it does come at a price. You could, I suppose, put 2 smaller ones in and wire them up, but this does it all, so why not just go for the one? Go for the best. To cool, we're going for the newest of the Corsair line, the Hydro Series H115i Extreme Performance Liquid Cooling CPU. This has replaced the 110i, and it does seem to be a little bit more efficient and a little bit quieter. Well, there's not a lot really to say about this apart from that. It does its job and it does it very well. Probably going to be putting the cooling fans and the radiator in the top of the case, as I do prefer to have the heat venting directly out of the top rather than sitting in the case, and of course heat rises. Now when it comes to the storage and the hard drives, of course I've gone for PCIe SSD drives. This is the newest of the Samsung, the SM961. I'm running the SM950s Pro in the Blue Angel at the moment. I think it was 2100 and 13 to 1400 I got when I ran an SSD test on the 950 Pro. These 961s are rated even better. 3200 megabytes a second, 3.2 gigabytes per second, and writing at 1.7. I just can't get my mind around those figures. Blue Angel boots up in under 7 seconds. This would probably take twice as long on the BIOS screen to go through the BIOS than it would to actually fully boot into Windows with these. Now this is the 512GB version, and this will be the system drive, and it will be placed into the M.2 slot. There is also a second, this is the 1TB version, and this will be placed using the Angelbird Wings PX1 PCI riser card into one of the x16 slots. I know you can use the x4 slot, but I'll use the x16. So this will be the work drive. All the raw video and the rendering video will be done on this card. Remember, the main programs will be in the RAM drive for as much speed as possible, as well as the cache, and then the video being taken from this drive and written back to this drive for maximum speed again. It's a 1TB drive, so there's plenty of room on there for most videos. So that's the SM961 Polaris 1TB from Samsung with the Angelbird Wings PX1 riser card. We come now to the storage, internal storage to the PC. I'd use two of these, which are two 6TB X300 from Toshiba, 128MB in the cache. It's a 7200 RPM drives, so they're fairly fast for hard drives, standard hard drives. And they're SATA6, a bit slower of course than the SSDs, but will be fairly fast. These will be set up in RAID 0 internally, and all the data from the raw files and the rendered files will be backed up onto these, and once the files are completed through editing, then they will be moved completely from the SSD onto these. Next we come to peripherals and what I consider one of the best keyboards out there. It's the bigger version to the one I have already. Mine is the K65, which is the 10 keyless. This is the K70 RGB, and it's the RAPIDFIRE version. It's backlit RGB and it has the Jerry MX Speed RGB keys. For gaming mouse, the G900K or Spectrum RGB from Logitech. Now I have both the 700S and the 602S. I love my Logitech mice, they're excellent gaming mice, and again, from all the reviews, this is probably one of the best gaming mice out there. But you'll also need a day-to-day working mouse as well, and the MX Master from Logitech is considered to be the very best there is, so I've included that as well for day-to-day work. Now for backup storage, I've chosen the DiskStation DS416 Slim 4-bay network attached storage, and the Toshiba drives that I showed you earlier. I've included 6 of these, 2 for internal, given of course the 12TB storage internal to the system, and a further 4 to go into the NAS, which gives 24TB of course, but it will be in RAID 1 to have redundancy in the backup as well, so if anything goes wrong, you've always got the files backed up. Finally, the only thing that overclockers couldn't supply is the capture card. And this is the same capture card as I'm using at the moment, but I don't want to really take the one out of the machine I've got. So I've included another HD60 Pro from Amazon into the build. So we add £140 onto the total. Now a lot of these are out of stock at the moment, but of course they will come back into stock over time. There it is, my Ultimate Build 2016 Thermaltake case, the Core W100, motherboard Rampage V Edition 10, or Rampage 5 Edition 10, whichever way you want to put it, the i7 6950X Extreme 3GHz, 128GB of the Vengeance LED 64GB DDR4 2400C15 3000MHz, 2 GeForce GTX 1080 DirectCU Asus Strix overclocked gaming Aura RGB. These video cards take longer to save than Llanberch Go. The power supply is AX1500i digital ATX 80 plus titanium. The cooling is the Hydro Series H115 Extreme Performance Liquid. 2 Samsung SM961s, one is 512GB, one is 1TB. The Angelbird riser card for the 1TB card. 6 X300 6TB 7200 128MB cache high performance Toshiba drives. 2 internal, 4 to go into the NAS. The Corsair Gaming Case Empty RGB RAPIDFIRE. The Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum RGB gaming mouse, the Logitech MX Master wireless mouse, the Synology DirectStation DS416 Slim, and finally the Elgato HD60 Pro stream and record. The reason I chose this over others that are available is because you can record in full 1080p 60. I've yet to see a card though that can record 4K. If there's one out there, please let me know in the comments. That's it, the Gaming Build 2016. Thank you for watching.